You can also make fun of the music. It's a tradition. You can do that.
I don't know if you noticed, but like there's like that second or half second when the music starts and the video starts before the video actually starts.
Well, I hit one and then it hit the other, so
I know,
yeah.
It's always funny.
It is. Shut up. Don't make fun of my production skills in front of the production designer guy, please. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Old Gray Bricks, our Thursday night live, and thank you for joining us today. If you're joining us for the first time, we are so happy you are here, and we have a new friend with us. We'll be introducing in just a second, right down there, and he's an old friend. He's technically an Old Gray Brick, right? I mean, you've been around since the Old Gray days, right?
Oh yeah.
You're an honorary Old Gray Brick, so that's awesome.
I have quite a bit of Old Gray.
Yes.
I have trouble telling it from New Gray a lot.
the eyes start to just go, yeah, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we will be joined soon by, I believe, Steven, season 2 champion, will be joining us. Mark last minute could not make it, but he'll be joining us here in just a bit when they're done with their show over at Atlanta Brick Co. Some folks already in the chat. David St. Sir, hello. How are you? Spitfire is here. Hello, Spitfire. I believe you're a new viewer, and thank you for coming. Do that smash of the like and all that kind of stuff. Andrew Sada is here, my Lego supplier of the Northeast. So that's awesome. Welcome everybody here. And so we're going to be talking about Lego Masters today. I hope you viewers join the show. We also have some really cool insights and a little bit behind the scene. Brian Jorgensen, welcome. Scott Stark Tech, welcome there to the show. So we'll be talking about that. Mark, let me just let you go ahead and introduce Jeff and who he is and what he does. We probably won't do the round robin until maybe later if we have some time, because we want to go ahead and jump into the show talk and everything. So, Mark, go ahead and introduce our guest.
Well, I mean, we could let Jeff speak for himself, but
no, you do it.
Jeff. Jeff Cross. Jeff is one of our brethren from the California, and
from the California.
Yeah, you know how they call the five and they call it their highways. They call them the. So I was calling it the California.
The California. Yeah, all right. That good deal.
I live right off the 5.
There you go. But yeah, I've hung out with Jeff at BrickCon a bit in Seattle, and also on the Jeff's a regular on Bricks and Beer. Our friend Andrew, who does his YouTube vlog, Bricks and Beer, and so make sure you check out Bricks and Beer as well as hanging out with us on this show.
Iceberg, there's a Lego Master right there.
So yeah. Jeff can tell us what he does because he can say it better than me. So take it away, Jeff.
Well, what I got to do earlier this year was be the art director on the stop-motion animated segments that took place in some episodes of Lego Masters. And that was super fun. So mostly what I was doing was making sure that stuff looked good. I was the art director, but also the art department. You know, like I had occasionally when, you know, we could squeeze it in there, I had some very competent assistants, but a lot of times it was just me. And if you've seen the show or if you saw last night's like the sequence with I think it was like the Party Rock space station that had the DJ, and then the fire station one that was shaped like a Maltese cross. Like both of those now, because those are spaceships, we just shot those on green screen and you know, post effects guys did everything behind there. But I did have some elements that I did have to make. Like this is the ship that comes over to the space station.
Yeah, I saw that.
Goes away.
I did too. That's awesome.
I like that.
The reason that I still have this is actually my stuff. Like Stupid Buddy has a vast Lego collection, but most of it was acquired when we were doing a job several years ago, and it's kind of not up to date and it's not sorted. So a lot of the work that I did, I was just going to look. I'm just going to stay home for a couple of hours and make something, as opposed to shelling for hours and hours looking for parts you guys probably don't even have.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
Just to interject, Stupid Buddy is the name of the company that Jeff.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. It's, you know what? I don't even think they got credited in the Lego Masters credits last night. Like, not even like, I'm certainly not in the credits, but I don't think Stupid Buddy is either. Stupid Buddy is STOOPID. That's how it's spelled. And Studio, also double O. If you've ever watched Robot Chicken, they're the guys that have been behind Robot Chicken since season 6 of Robot Chicken, which was quite some time ago. Right. So I normally work in stop motion animation. Sometimes that overlaps with me being a Lego freak. And this year it did in a super fun way. So, I was not only was I building, background pieces for the cold open that you saw last night in episode 1. Brad Pitt in his recliner. Here's the sea monster that pops out and chases the airplane.
Yes.
Yeah. Here's the airplane.
Oh man.
But this is all my brick, so that's why I still, and honestly, it's probably safer with me than putting it back in their huge collection that's going to get stored in a warehouse. So most of what I did was in Burbank, setting up the backgrounds for these shots and making sure that everything was suitable for stop motion. Stop motion has a lot of particular demands, which if you just think about it, it makes sense. Nothing can move around in a floppy way because that'll look really bad, etc. But the other cool thing I got to do was take a couple of trips to Atlanta to the set, and it's outside Atlanta actually, because I was responsible to pack up the builds that were being used. Because the contestants build them on that stage. They roll them very carefully just off stage to take all those honey shots, the super well lit, like this is what this thing looks like, close-ups, and then they rolled them over to me. And because they wanted to minimize the amount of distance these things traveled at all before they handed it off to me, and I had to pack it really carefully in a crate, I had this odd, really not quite front row seat, but mid row seat to all the action. So I could see all the monitors, I can't remember how many there were, quite a few.
I'm glad you're talking about this stuff because we can't. Our NDA covers us not talking about this stuff, so keep going, please.
I mean, I'm not. There's no details I can share. It was really, really cool. You know what I mean? I'm just, there's nothing to it except, I went and I got the stuff and I brought it there. That was me. And that's about as far as I can really take it. The only thing I really want to kind of emphasize was it was really, really cool. The end product of I don't know how much you've chatted on this show already about American reality TV. It's a little tough for me to watch the editing style and all that, but being there was awesome. Watching everybody trying to just make this thing that was super fun and just on point in all these ways was really, really cool. The support staff who were making sure everybody had the brick and then sorting, this is the sorting team we all wish we had. Just a bunch of PAs that have to sort everything. It was amazing. But I can't really go into any specifics beyond that, except that it was just really, really cool. I was kind of like, hey, this is a show that's interesting for certain reasons. Oh, great, I get to work on it. And then it turned into oh, wow, I dig this. This is neat. But the thing is, I've lived in Hollywood since 2007, and I've been in this industry since the mid 90s. I'm still the kid who thinks it's really cool if I get a walkie-talkie, I got a walkie-talkie, and the other production assistants are like, yeah, that just means they can bug you more. And I'm like, yeah, on my walkie-talkie, so, it's I was all I get to go on a business trip. Oh, I'm not sure. That was my wife. My kid's drum lesson is going to start up just on the other side of that wall pretty soon. I think it was supposed to start 10 minutes ago, and that's what's happening.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's roughly what I did. Mostly what I can really talk about is the little background elements and whatnot that I added to the thing. But my whole job at that point is to make something that doesn't grab focus. The little this guy was really supposed to be yeah, this is something else that's not the main build. But hey, look at that main build, right? I wasn't supposed to make anything, wicked awesome. Same with so you might remember there's 2 ships that are on fire in space. That
the firefighters put out.
That's right. Well, I basically kept those components together because I liked it and combined them into one ship.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
My daughter was reminding me the entire time there's no air in space.
Yeah, well, but I think so. A more simplified version of this was the second ship that gets put out, and then some of the components here, and then I added more stuff. I don't usually build anything sort of a real.
What's amazing, if you go to a large convention and get it certified by those authenticators, you could then auction off at charity at any convention and get big bucks for the charity auctions, like a Chicago or Virginia or whatever.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
When I'm done, looking
doing your thing, or just keep it
every night. Yeah, I'll do that.
Or just take it to the convention and get it certified for your kids or whatever. Yeah.
This is what I'm.
That's
doing.
really cool.
Yeah.
And I have a very pertinent question. Is that Godzilla behind you on the stairwell? I'm just asking for posterity's sake.
Oh yeah. No. My Lego room is flanked by my son's kaiju collection.
Holy moly!
Up there.
What?
Yeah. So,
one of us.
Yeah. And there's another little sublanding up there. Most of the things up there are actually things that I've made. That one flamey piece that you can make out is from a Hot Wheels thing.
Oh, nice.
Here's the minifig collection.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So wait. Is your stuff in your living room? Is it your main living room that you have all your nerd stuff in?
Sort of divided into 2. There's another, more living room space on the other side of the staircase. Okay. But yeah, it's the first thing. That's the front door right there. So it's the first thing you see when you come into the house.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was pretty great when Jeff was here visiting because Jeff could actually keep up a conversation with Small Paul about Godzilla and the specific monster that was in each specific movie. And I've watched some of the movies and I can sort of talk Godzilla with Paul, but Paul and Jeff had a debate about Godzilla and this, I can't remember which one you guys were arguing about, but you guys had a lively debate about what happened in a movie with a particular monster, and Paul loved it, and it was amazing, and it was really fun.
Yeah, I've put in a lot of work. I still can't. My kid can name which Godzilla movie just by the roar.
That's about the level that Small Paul is on too. He'll tell me, Dad, this is what 1954 Godzilla sounds like, and he'll go, like, okay.
Yeah. And Zach will be like, which one is this, Dad? Which Godzilla is this? And I'm like, I don't know. It's Cloverfield.
This is so heartwarming all at the same moment. I just don't know. It's just awesome.
Yeah, and the fact that you're nerding out in every moment of your life and getting paid for it, which is great. So we all appreciate that.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. I found a good niche for myself. Cool. Are we having connection problems with the mic? Sorry, YouTube.
Are we live?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Live.
I seem to be interfering with my son's drum lesson.
He doesn't want to interrupt with a bunch of drum noise.
Oh.
He doesn't want to interrupt your show with a bunch of drum.
Like a beat track.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can have music. That'll be fine.
Yeah, I can mute.
It's really loud.
Can you throw in a lap track too?
It's all good.
Does he know any Rush?
My wife's Julie, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Unless you want sick drumming in the background.
What is her
too
level?
loud.
What
Yeah.
is her level of Godzilla knowledge? Just out of curiosity.
Whose level?
Your wife.
Oh, probably third in the house.
Third out of 3.
Third out of 3.
6 counting the pets.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she's Godzilla tolerant, I take it then.
Oh, she's more than Godzilla tolerant. One of our, actually probably the most valuable toy Zach has is the Cloverfield action figure, which they only made 1,000 of.
Oh wow!
And what happened was she was walking home from school one time, and he was talking about this. Oh, I saw this like toy online. I want it, but it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And her phone rings, and it's this guy Nick, and the connection drops out, and she goes, "God, the only reason I can think that Nick is calling me is because I won something in that contest that I entered, that script contest that I entered. Tell you what, if that's what happened, I'll get that toy for you." And then Nick calls back, and that's what happened. So, nice. Yeah, it was like the first tier prize. So I think it was like she won like $2,000 and spent like $1,200 on this toy.
Nice.
Yeah. Now,
Mom of the year.
I really liked that monster. I think it looks like a kind of like a mutated spider monkey, and I'm not into it. But the toy is excellent.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, I've taken us way off topic. Welcome to my home.
Welcome to our show. That's just how it goes. So
yeah.
And Chris, don't forget to advertise the spoiler warning banner and all that as we dive into the details, because anybody who hasn't watched it probably wants to bail.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about aspects of the show. We'll be talking about the winners, the losers, and all that kind of stuff. So spoiler warning right now. We should have a graphic for next week, the spoiler, countdown or something crazy like that.
We can make
one. So if you haven't watched the episode, just know that right now we are about to start talking about it and everything. So this is your fair warning. 3, 2, 1. So we all watched Lego Masters last night. The cool thing is, with Jeff's perspective, Jeff, were you on set? Yeah. Spoiler warning. There you go. Were you there? I know you can't talk time frames, so we won't talk dates. Were you there from the beginning episode, or did you just pop in on occasion? Were you there at that very first moment?
I was there a couple of times, and all like the thing that I was dealing with was always the thing that they had when I picked up the space station, for instance, it was pretty early in the run, but they were already a few episodes past that, and and I'm getting some of the behind the scenes story. Like I think one of them actually fell off a table and had to be totally rebuilt by staff. I never confirmed that one actually, but and I'm not sure if that was like one of the winner builds or just one of the other ones, but I'm sorry. Ask your question again, Chris. I had a better answer slotted.
So you weren't there for this first episode filming? You came a little.
No, I wasn't there for the first episode filming, and like even when I saw like the promo, I was like baffled about I was like, Jeff Gordon was there, Chris Pratt was there. Like I missed all of this, So it was like when I was there, it was like completely random, and like what I happened to see or not see, totally random, like not according to anybody's wishes or desires or concerns. I mean, everybody was super duper friendly to me and very, very helpful, but I was very much on my own, when I got there. It was kind of like, let me just be over here, stay out of the way, and then when I have to make my move, do my kind of Cobra Strike, put it in the box, Did
you have like a dastardly cape that you would then, raise your eyebrows as you ran into the room?
Next time, if they bring me back for season 4, I'll definitely do that. But actually, you know what? I wore the most recent shop hoodie from Robot Chicken. Had this big graphic on the back that was like the Robot Chicken as the baby from 2001. So very bold graphics. So I just wore that all the time. I was just kind of like, Robot Chicken. Robot Chicken is my street cred.
Please love me for Robot Chicken.
Right. They didn't give me a badge, but I have this cool hoodie.
Well, as for those of us who live in Georgia, we know that they film around here, and we know a little bit about the locations and stuff, which we won't talk about to spoil anything. But Moto, you were season 2, and figured out how close Moto was, but under severe lockdown. So it would have been we've got to meet in person ever since. But honestly, from my house, it's not that far, and it was just pretty weird and exciting and everything. But all right, so let's go ahead and let's talk the episode. We all watched it.
I've watched it 3 times.
You watched it 3 times? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So completely. Can I borrow one of your times?
Sure. You fast forwarded and you got the Cliff Notes version, right? So let's just go ahead and start. Was there any feel that was different about the show from other seasons to y'all? Moto's got his head nodding yes. What did you feel was different?
Oh, right off the bat, because so for one, it seems like it was a higher level of spend, aka budget. So, there's an opening stop motion animation or animated sequence out of Billund with Will Arnett. You've got some Brad Pitt voiceover. And, every second counts in these productions. So, one big thing was there was no reveal of the cash prize, no discussion about the cash prize, having the trunk open up with all the money, the effects or whatnot. There was no reveal of a golden brick, which usually occurs in the first episode as an award. And then there was no, highlight of the brick pit has increased by X amount and doing the whole hoopla around that. So, I think the 90 seconds or the 120 seconds that would have been spent on that editing and that bit of the money reveal, the golden brick and some other things were used for other production components that were slipped in there. So that was one big difference that I noticed right off the bat from the beginning.
You know what? As you think about that, that didn't even occur to me. They didn't show the brick. They didn't talk about anything else or other aspects of the show. Didn't have the trophy. You're right, and I didn't pay attention to that at all. That's awesome.
But you did see the trophy. They pan
Well,
past
yeah,
it.
you saw it for about 5 seconds.
Yeah, they pan past it.
not even long enough to tell if the minifigs were accurate. Whether it was, or whatnot. But for the reason they normally do a 90-second reveal of all the awards and the trophy and the golden brick and all that, and all of that I think was replaced by the wonderful, Brad Pitt bill into U.S. Journey or whatever it was. So that was kind of cool.
What did you say, Mark? You said something there.
Well, they said it was a one-of-a-kind trophy, and it looked the same as last year's trophy.
Which maybe because, from talking, there was some other Brickmasters waiting on their trophy, and there was some controversy on where that trophy was and things I'm not going to reveal right now.
Which is probably why they didn't focus on it. And
Can't they just swap out one brick in the back with a green one, and then it's one of a kind? I mean, right?
Yeah, I don't know. All right, so anybody else notice anything just different straight off the bat? We can just go ahead and talk about the fact, spoiler alert, they threw somebody off the show last night, and I was kind of like, oh, which made me kind of go, well, yeah. They're kind of serious about this year. So
and that's we've got more teams and same number of shows, so they didn't get the bye week, which was right off the bat. Because I even told my wife, I'm like, this isn't going to be any drama because it's
how many teams?
So they're not going to send me home, and they said we're sending somebody home. I'm like, what?
Well, they always say that, and then they don't. But yeah, right. How many teams were there? I didn't count them.
12.
I believe there were 12.
Well, we had 12.
What's the Canadian quota? Because it seemed like there was a lot of Canadians.
Yeah.
3 Canadian teams, is that right?
Yeah.
The firefighters, and then
the streamers, Nick and Stacy.
Yeah.
You can say, all right. So,
but one reason is they're airing this in Canada on Canadian TV. So I think that was a production decision as well. So having Canadian teams, I think, open up the Canadian market for broadcasting. That might have been part of the behind-the-scenes production deals with broadcasting, but good for them, right?
We love our AFL brothers and sisters from the north, so it's they needed to have some representation.
I also think last year they couldn't because of COVID border restrictions. So.
Yep. Yeah, there are a lot of restrictions. We welcome to the show Steven Erickson, who was on the show, right? You were on the show? Is that right?
Not on season 3.
No, he's actually a Lego master. I'm a Lego Masters contestant. He is a Lego master.
I still call you Lego Master. What else am I gonna call you? That's
a Lego master.
That's cool, man. No, I am the Lego Master, but you are a
Lego master. Yeah.
No, but Moto, you are a Lego Master. I am the Lego Master. That's the only difference. So.
Tell it to Fox before they come and sue me, dude.
Hang on. Excuse me while I get the Flex gift ready. Hang on.
No, that's not what I meant. Come on. You know
well, your brother's not here, so let me just go ahead and put that up.
I love it.
Moto, that was so worth that Thursday morning to make that gift.
Oh yeah.
So Steven, just to catch you up, our friend here in the center square, that's Jeff. He worked on a lot of behind-the-scenes production, also on the animation and stuff like that. So the animated stuff you saw last night, he and his team worked on that from Stupid Monkey and all that kind of stuff. So
I gotta say,
Okay, well, we had
done.
one thing. We forgot to do one thing for Jeff.
Next.
Here are the categories. First off, Jeff.
Okay, that
What?
Jeopardy. What are we doing with Jeopardy?
It's Jeff.
It's Jeff Pretty. That's what it is.
I'll take
Oh,
Jeff for
man.
1,000.
There you go.
That's
yeah,
right.
thank you,
For
Steven. That's. I mean, I can't take all the credit. There's a lot of people,
I'm sure.
doing a lot of very good work, including the post guys. I was really psyched because I hadn't seen the space station stuff with the post added.
So you supervise like the breakouts of animation, but you don't do the transformation sequence where they green screen away the stage area and they put it in the star field and stuff, or do you do that as well?
No. That's all handled by somebody else. I'm not very digitally literate.
Okay.
I mean, I can do this, but that's not. I'm much more of a plastic arts kind of guy.
There you go.
So it was really all the. I mean, what I said on some chat today was that like stuff that you saw in the last night's episode, I had my fingerprints on, literally, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, man, that cold open was boss.
It was so smooth, so clean. I was watching it, and it was like, oh man, I didn't know how much I wanted it until now. I saw it. I'm like, this is incredible. Like, it was really well done.
They were like, okay, it's just a box full of minifigures, and they gave us some because there's the red spaceman is the new Galaxy Explorer spaceman, and I worked kind of hard to get the banner from the 90th anniversary castle set visible in that one wide shot. Because they gave us all those minifigs,
I saw the castle cape immediately. I'm like, oh, someone knows their stuff.
Oh, but we also saw one of our best friends show up in that short, the Bunco.
Yeah, that was
the Bunco. What?
He's right here.
Do you know what the Bunco is? That's the name.
I probably recognize it, but I might not know the name. Oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. Oh,
that was the thing too. It was so one of the times I'm heading out. It's the Friday before. It's the weekend before I'm heading out to
hot take right there, by the way.
And what's he talking about? Oh.
Come on. It's all right. Come on.
Leave
it
to another stop motion person to pick out all the
good one. Is that I didn't realize there was yellow visible on that thing. That's a Jurassic World torso, right?
I don't know.
No, I'm wrong.
Wait, do you have the minifigure with you right now?
I don't have a Will Arnett. All the Will Arnetts went back to stupid.
That would have been so cool.
I do have the Brad Pitt.
Nice.
What an ass!
No way! Oh, that's so cool.
What is
that? Like a master relics.
What's that? The hair from?
I was gonna say you can.
It's modified, isn't it?
I was gonna say somebody cut the hair.
Oh.
A couple friends pointed that out immediately. Yeah.
Because I couldn't figure out how the hat stayed on.
There was a few minor moments where you can see a little bit of the tacky tape in a couple of the scenes.
Oh my!
Oh,
there's one of the artifacts in that little bit.
Interesting.
I think that's in the. Isn't it from the Hannibal movie?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, comedic gold tonight. So
anyway, the Bunco story is that so they were like, hey, could you throw in some of these parts? Could you? And we have this thing, and so they went through they're like, oh, we got to send you the instructions, but we have to. So they had to go through all the security stuff to get me, and it took the whole weekend. And I get these PDFs that have Jeff Cross emblazoned all over them, every single page. Total, it's like, if you spill this, we're gonna know it's you, kind of stuff, right? So I go through my collection and I build everything I can, and I got to build it part for part, right? There's no like squeaking through for this, and the only ones I could build were that guy and the elephant and the little house truck combo. Everything else had some new piece in it that I didn't have. So we dropped this in the thing, and then I go.
Was the elephant a shout out to these good old?
I was gonna say
yes, it was.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks just like him.
Oops. She came with a little umbrella as well. I could make the umbrella.
That's fun. That's
fun. But then I'm hanging out with Mark that weekend, and it's like Thursday or Friday, and we wrap things up. I drive back to my hotel. I'm supposedly beat, right? And I flip open the Discord to see if anybody's talking about anything. And Bunco has exploded all over Reddit because they're all just like, what the hell is this? You know, because like, if you don't know what a Bionicle is supposed to look like, it's supposed to look like this.
Yeah.
Like it's got ball and socket armature, you know, and you can pose it and stuff, you know. So,
it looks ridiculous.
The fans loved it. I think that was the funniest part, is that like everybody who thought this was like a cynical, awful thing was this narrow slice of malcontents that I am happy.
Was that normally true of the Lego community?
Yeah, I mean, well, we're looking at like half a dozen of them right now, aren't we? There we go. So I was just
in the end, what's lovely is to the casual.
I'm just scrolling through these comments and these, you know, people making like posters, like an old Bionicle poster, except they put Bunco in there instead, and somebody built all the different colors of Bunco. It was one of those like cumulative Far Side laugh kind of things where I'm like, I gotta stop looking at this. It's killing me. It's so good.
My Hero Factory didn't make it though. I'm just gonna say.
Oh God.
Pretty good.
Wow. Yeah, that's weird. That looks like
you're able to tuck these deep references from the Lego community to enjoy, and the casual viewer is going to enjoy watching it, but for those of us that are deeper into the lore, have even more stuff to love and obsess over in these segments, which makes them awesome. Yeah.
By the way, and our friend Ant Bandit in the chat there, he does animation. That's what he does for a living. He's actually test animating, I think, the old gray brick with some equipment and stuff like that. So we may have some animation of him, which is exciting. But our friend there, he is amazing at what he does.
Yeah,
all right,
totally.
so
I meet him too when I was there. So boom to you, dude.
That's right. You did. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the aspects of the show. Let's talk about our teams, and maybe for those of you on the show tonight, you may want to go ahead and lay down your favorites and see how good you do in the show, because I've got mine. I think I've got mine picked out.
Wait, there's two ways to pick favorites: your favorite personality, your favorite building.
That is important. That is very important.
Yeah,
because a lot of people, I think, mix the two together, and they're unable to separate their emotional connection to a team to the judgment against their belts, which are two separate things.
Yeah. So we can talk about personality, but I mean, I've got two that are my. Maybe we'll just do this. We'll see your top two building teams. Then you can mention somebody who you really like.
Man. It's way too early for that.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't see. I mean, I saw some things that I know are about them and everything. So I think this couple here is the one I know the least about. But I think they did pretty good. What do you guys think on? We'll get to the reels here in just a minute.
My only concern was the spaceship had a vat of heads, which I know they were.
I loved it.
That was just like kind of creepy.
I loved it. It was so good.
They seemed like they had a lot of fun. Their build was good. Let's just anybody else want? We just go flip through them real quick.
I liked it. I liked the charm, but it was a little bit squarish on the edges. So
yeah, we've got pictures of the mocks here. We'll go through here in just a minute. John and Xavier. Does anybody have any connection to them in the Lego community? Because I don't.
No,
I don't. But I liked the fact that they were like doing Filipino anime mashup.
That was unusual. That was about as far from the prompt as you could get, and they still managed to pull it off. So I'm really curious what these guys do. But I hope they listen to the judges and stick close to what they're talking about, because that's actually incredibly vital, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hey, Jesse's Brick Galaxy just joining. Thank you. All right, Canadian team number 1. Do you think they're going to have to wear hockey jerseys the whole time?
I think they are. I think they're the suit jacket team.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's like even worse. There's no pockets.
Yeah.
Jesus. I was disappointed there was no curling references in their build.
Hockey players don't curl.
That's like there's no figure skating in there.
What I noticed is that two of the teams, one of the teams had the Canadian symbol and the other one had shirts that said Boston, but I'm assuming you can't wear any branded apparel or
They were custom
properties. So those custom jerseys then?
Maybe. But I will say, Dave over there has got the best beard in Lego Masters history right there. That is the beard to be.
Was that a shot at Boone? I mean, I'm
sorry,
just
it is. Like, look at it. I'm sorry, Boone. You're the king of Lego Masters, but
that's a shot at Mark Cruikshank, I think.
I'm sorry.
So Mark, I assume I have you to thank for muting me that I've been here yammering for the last 5 minutes and trying to figure out why nobody's actually letting me talk. So
no, we don't like you.
I did hear, and we'll get to her picture, but Matthew already mentioned it, the Boston shirts. So I know that Liz wears her knit cap through the entire season. They would wash it every night for her to wear. The Canadians, of course, they had to come up with a fake hockey jersey for them to wear, and the Boston shirts. I think they changed Boston shirts through the season, but it's all fictitious Boston sports memorabilia that they had to do because they couldn't get. I couldn't get a word into it. They had, they're all due to legal reasons. So they're all everything that you see people wear is all manufactured for them for the season.
Hey Dana.
So in season 2, there was. It was funny because it does tie into this episode. So, yes, you're not allowed to wear anything that is copyrighted or trademarked that they don't own.
Yep.
It turns out that one of those things is NASA.
Oh!
So NASA, which was actually part of this partnership for this episode, right? You never saw the NASA logo. You saw the American flag on the space station, but you never saw the NASA logo. It might have been because they had the partnership, but they never got cleared to use the actual NASA logo. But one of the little tiny things you might want to go back if you ever watched season 2 is there is a NASA logo that appears on part of a uniform in one of the episodes. And it turns out they thought because it was a government agency that it was free use. But no, NASA is not. It's not a government agency. It's quasi-government aligned. But it has its own trademark and copyright and all that on it. So they managed to get, I think a permission slipped in for that. But that was one of the more interesting nuances of being able to wear certain things and not being able to wear certain things.
Yeah, we thought it was like the American flag or something, but apparently it's not. So.
Nope.
I'm surprised Fox hasn't trademarked the American flag.
Well, that's because Disney owns it.
Hasn't trademarked it.
Yeah. So what do we think of Greg and Brennan?
Greg and Brandon, I know a little bit about Greg and Brandon because they're friends with Tyler. Greg also is an animator, or both of them are an animator, and they've made animated almost like long movies and stuff like that for a long, long time. So they're kind of old school kids, T-Foles when we were growing up, and everything. So I know that seeing their builds, they've got chops. They got deep build skills that I'm aware of. So I don't know about the rest of y'all.
Yep. We'll talk about the build when we get to, we should have done the builds and I don't know, or at the same time. Well, who knows?
Yeah, I know. We can go over the teams, I guess, at the moment.
We're gonna go over the builds.
Okay.
All right, Christina Michelle they were a lot of fun. It seemed like to me. They seem to be having a great time. I've met them at Brick World, and they were pretty much their same persona on screen and off, and they weren't faking the joy and the stress and all that kind of stuff and everything. Yep. What do you guys think about them?
All I know is Michelle randomly follows me, and I followed her back.
There you go.
I know these guys the best of all the teams because I met them a year before at Brick Rodeo, and I heaped like 10,000 pounds of extra swag because they just seemed to have that special personality that I liked, and then they wound up getting cast. So if you're looking for like a personal connection to the team, this is my strongest connection.
I was going to say, I like their personality a lot, and Natalie wants me to make her a taco. She had it's Christine, the other one, right? She had the taco pin with the glasses on it. Mm-hmm. Now I have to go build one.
Well, yeah, because if you meet her, she goes by tacos. It's Michelle and tacos. Yeah. That's just how I know them.
I wonder, will hair and makeup touch up her hair job like every 2 days or something? I mean, I'm assuming they want to.
No, she's had that hair color. We've been Instagram followers of each other for over a year, and she's had various hair colors all
Her
the
hair
time.
pretty much looks that color right now on her Instagram and Facebook every day. So
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, they don't. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, they are for as much of the characters as they came across, or the little tidbit we've seen. I'm sure we'll see more, but when we saw them in Chicago, they were laughing and they were a riot.
I mean, there was no false yucking up for the camera. I mean, what you saw is pretty much the way they are. Yeah,
They're not actors. They're not actors.
That energy.
The same with their clothing. I think they might have gone through wardrobe clean, as far as I could tell.
I'm assuming that too.
Yeah,
I would think they wouldn't have had anything changed.
Oh, scrubs.
Now, are they doctors or nurses? And is there a difference?
Well, there is a difference, but no, they just said professionals, so I don't know.
They said pediatric hospitalists or something.
Yes, that's what they said.
Which
Okay.
I don't know why they're wearing surgical scrubs, but I guess the production
Got to be annoying.
decided this looks like hospital-y, so you're going to wear this.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
gotta
It's
be
funny
annoying.
you thought they were going with blue, so a green screen wouldn't interfere, but whatever,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard scrubs are very comfortable to wear, though.
They are.
They
Are you
are.
walking around your pajamas?
No, I got some scrubs because my sister's a nurse and we all got scrubs for the big party we threw, and it's my favorite pants. They're like,
Oh, I stand corrected.
They're awesome. There's no, they don't trap heat. They've got a pocket and they have no long sleeves to get caught on the model. So, what is
Why
that?
wasn't I allowed to wear scrubs on last season? Then, like, what was that about?
Well, just be glad they didn't make you wear a welding helmet. That would have been.
Yeah.
All right, Nick and Stacy. Brick and Nick is very, very, very well liked
We all
on
know Nick.
on the Twitch.
Yep.
And other places. And he's a good friend, I believe, of our mutual friend from any of us, Simon Liu, because this is another Canadian team. And I believe Stacy, is she broadcast? Does she just do like Twitch and stuff like that, or is she like a local news person or something like that? I kind of wanted to think she was that.
I've heard varying things. I don't know personally how much she's involved in the community, but you're right about Nick. Nick is up there. He's got some good stuff.
Yeah. And honestly, from seeing him, he builds a lot of stuff live and like under time pressure and stuff like that. And he builds really well with a lot of good technique. So in my opinion, that they've got some advantage, I believe, in what's going on.
I was gonna say he's probably one of. I think they will probably be one of the finalists.
Yeah, easily.
Okay.
I've always thought that the finalists have to be a strong pair, not one leading the other. That's my opinion, but we'll see.
I mean, I don't mean to speak ill of any contestants, but
Go ahead.
certain people who won season one of them was a really, really strong builder, and one was a moderate builder, and they went home with the big prize. So
Absolutely not. If you talk to Tyler's wife, did 80% of the final build.
Oh, I know. No, but coming into the season, it was 80-20.
Some people gain skills very quickly, or they're trained leading up to it. So that's why, on first glance, you can't tell. That's why I'm very reserved until we get about 3 or 4 in to really see what's going on.
Exactly.
Understood.
So about
met these guys.
Dude is a DJ. Are you kidding? I mean,
he's a DJ.
Apparently, yes. On the right. Yeah.
The photographer on the left. Yep.
All right.
Chris, this team is the reason you and I aren't.
I was about to say the same thing. They had already picked the old part before we got there.
Yeah.
So
they took our slot, and that's why.
I love these guys, but I would have liked to have seen Dana, you, and Chris would have been great on the show.
Could I had the Pee Wee Herman hair? Would that would have worked? Although I'm getting thin right there, could I have had the little peak in the front? You think they would have given me that?
I think that would have worked.
Dana,
maybe.
Dana, ditch the Jedi robes. Go for bow ties.
You know what? There's something to that. Or the hair.
If it's been done, think about mixing your archetypes up. Just come at it again.
Yeah.
But don't be
keep
too
the
frustrated.
Jedi robes and get bow ties.
Lenny and Squiggy. We're going to be Lenny and Squiggy. That's who we're going to be.
Victoria even said last night, she's like, "I've got the picture you need to use, and I will go find it and share it." And I think she's onto something here. So we'll come back to that.
Dana, you need to wear your spaceman costume, and Giddens needs to wear like the giant dog costume from Dumb and Dumber, and you would get on.
No, he needs to dress up as Jesus or Moses or whatever it was he did for kids ministry. That is where.
There you go. Come in as
Oh
old
my
man
God.
Moses, come walking
He's
in.
gonna part the bricks. He's gonna part the bricks.
Yeah.
That's right. So, all right, the mom and son team here. This was an interesting combo because
Very
it's
interesting.
new. Very interesting. You know, there was a little bit of me is like, okay, is she crying? Well, there's no crying in Lego Masters, but
This is not baseball. Crying is allowed in Lego Masters.
Wait,
I kind of
no
was
crying.
teasing
Is that?
Natalie.
Did I just hear that, Moto? No crying in Lego Masters. Did I just?
No,
Hear
I
that?
said
crying's allowed. Crying's
I
allowed.
Oh, thank you.
in baseball, but Lego Masters, you can cry all you want.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
there's
I
somebody
feel
at the
like
Lego store. You guys remember
the
Ed?
very first
Ed
episode
Moto,
I
you never
cried.
met him. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Didn't somebody cry in the very first episode?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we cried. But my boss, Ed, he always rolls his eyes. Oh, why are they crying? They got no reason to cry. I'm like, you don't know. It's hard, and I don't blame anybody for tearing up.
No, I'm not.
By the way, they're absolutely lovely. When I met them in person, and he's a pretty good. I mean, he's got a lot of models out on the tables when he goes.
Sad to see they're gone.
No, I meant the farmer, the mom, and the son.
Yeah, mom and the son and everything.
I don't know anything about Miranda and Drew.
Yeah, I don't know them. Does anybody have any knowledge of them in the Lego community or anything like that?
Nope.
I have a little bit. I think they're relatively newcomers. I think. We actually had this was pretty funny. We met Miranda and her husband at a Lego store purely by accident in Salt Lake City. So we go to the Lego store, we shop, we buy stuff, and then we leave, and then we run into Susan and her son. And hey, we're just about to go to the Lego store. Like, oh, great! So we and all the big group that was with maybe a dozen of us, we go back to the Lego store and run into Miranda. And Miranda's like, where did you guys come from? I'm like, where did you come from? Like, don't you live in Idaho? And I'm like, well, I got family here. I'm visiting. And like, really? It's like, oh, I'm sorry. No, I think you moved back to Salt Lake City. I'm not sure. But they're like, where in the world? Like, she recognized us immediately. We'd recognize her. And we told her about Brick Slopes. She's like,
Of course, yeah.
What's Brick
Gotta
Slopes?
get him to Brick Slopes.
And Cody Otley was right there, and he gave her a bunch of information. She couldn't come eventually. She wasn't able to come to the show, but we ran into her purely by accident in a store. Like, what are the odds of that one?
That's random.
We went
That's
back.
fantastic.
But they're amazing. They're great. Miranda was really nice, and yeah, it's a shame that they're gone. So I guess we'll talk about that later. But whatever.
The thing I noticed about them, he was wearing that shirt. Go back to there if you can, Mark. I don't know if you can back up or not. That shirt he's wearing is like a Lego torso. The Lego, there's a very common Lego torso that has that dark blue with the red stripes.
Yep.
And I bet her outfit is fairly common too with female Lego figures and everything. I was like, oh wait, that's a Lego outfit they put him in. So I thought that was kind of.
I'll say one word to Steven. He's gonna laugh. Sister wife.
What? I don't
really.
Yeah, he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't want to talk about it.
No, we're gonna keep rolling.
All right, and this is our third Canadian pair, Steven and Steven. So that's going to be easy to remember.
I'm the OG Steven.
Steven and Steven with another. That's right.
With
So
a B.
I met the Stephen on the right at Brick
Me
World.
too.
He seemed very personable, gregarious, outspoken, and loud. He's the first Canadian I don't think that says sorry. So that I've met. I'm not so sure, but he was genuinely an entertaining personality to be around and everything. So what do you guys know about these folks?
Same as you. Steven is hilarious. Sorry, the one on the taller Steven. Glasses Steven.
You said sorry for them, but
yeah, sorry. That's what it's a boot.
Hey, sorry, I gotta go. Is that right?
See ya. Are you leaving?
I gotta go put Natalie to bed. I've been summoned.
I got you.
Good night,
Matt, I think you were about to make a comment.
Later,
Good
Matt.
night. Were you not? I thought you got cut off there for a second. So anybody else know anything about these guys?
I do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead though.
Oh, just I met him, but I never saw any of his builds before. He didn't bring anything with him, so it was hard to tell. But yeah, he's a great personality on camera.
Okay, so I know that the Steven on the left builds more than Steven on the right. And Steven on the right, he has a nickname, which he loves to go by. It's Crash. Like a car crash. That's his nickname, and he loves it. And that's a good way to tell them apart, because I call that one on the right Crash and the one on the left Steven. So he's called that back at the fire department, and he's called that in Lego community as well. So it's quite funny. So
Wait. So you got one fireman named Crash, but you
Yep.
don't have the other fireman named Burn. And
apparently not.
That's
Missed opportunity. Missed
Yeah,
opportunity.
no, that'd be a horrible nickname for a firefighter. It'd be called Burn.
No, because he crashed into the wall, so he
It doesn't go very far.
Ironic thing, like calling a giant guy Smalls, but
I mean, Bandicoot would be better than Burn.
Yeah,
So his name that's his nickname though. His nickname is Crash. I've heard it a million times.
Cool,
I've heard it from
cool.
Liz a lot.
I really hope Crash doesn't drive the fire truck because
I don't think he does. Yeah.
Maybe in the
I met
back.
Liz a million times. Liz is awesome.
Liz is awesome.
Liz and Aaron, yeah.
Cool.
Liz is on the Friday night stuff, and that's where I know her from.
Yeah, she's part of Sort Log, isn't she?
Sorry, what was that?
She's part of Sort Log. That's
Friday night Sort Log. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where most people know her from.
Yeah, and I believe Erin does Sort Log too, maybe, or she does now, and everything.
I think so.
But they're Bostonites. They were of all the people that Will talked to and everything. I think I enjoyed their interaction with Will the most. We haven't even brought up Will and his stuff because I know some of us are positive, negative. We'll talk about it maybe in a minute. But I think the interaction with them seemed the most natural and kind of funny. That seemed to me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, and I've met Liz. She is very genuine. Aaron, I think I've swapped some messages with online too, and everything. So let's go through the builds, and have we got through all the teams? Is this all the teams?
That's
it, everybody.
Was that 12?
Was that 12?
That was quick.
Yeah, that was 12.
Okay, that was the 12 teams, huh?
Are they the Boston?
Okay, so
They're the Boston team.
Bostonites.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is I will say one thing I noticed but I haven't brought up is there's 12 teams going in. One was eliminated. So if you do the episode math, they're going to have some twist where they either maintain a team or they introduce a new team. Otherwise, there's no room for a final three with the number of episodes remaining because they did a first-time elimination off the bat.
That's true.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I mean,
interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
Just an interesting thought for you guys to put in the back of your heads.
It's a weird math problem that we don't know
Yes,
the
it
answer
is.
to.
Or they do an episode in the middle where nobody goes home. You never know.
Yeah.
No, that's what I meant. They're going to have to do some sort of finagling in order to get the equation to fit, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys think that they did do a kickoff first show for a little bit of the shock value, going, oh, we're not playing, or you expected everybody to get a pass?
I expected a pass, but I expected them to kind of lean into the pass more in order to shock us more when someone was eliminated.
It was like. Go ahead, Matt.
Send somebody home. I looked at how many people were up there, and I looked at how many weeks, and I'm like, they're going to send somebody home this first show. And at our house, we're sitting there, and I'm like, they're going to send somebody home. And my husband's like, no, they're not. And I'm like, yeah, they are. And then
because we had 12 and we had the same episode run, and they couldn't eliminate off the bat because otherwise they wouldn't have had 3 remaining.
Yeah, and they skipped an episode for elimination, the house challenge.
I'm just telling you, I just
usually
that somebody was going home, and when they got down to the end, and he turns to me and he's like, all right, you win this time.
I can believe it because every Lego Master production that I've seen so far, the first one's usually a pass. Even for Australia, I mean, all their seasons going in. So that was a shocker.
Yeah,
that was a weird one.
Yeah, it was. All right, so
Also,
here we go.
No golden brick introduction either, but we can keep going.
Yeah. Already mentioned it.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. All right, so here is Nick and Stacy, the intergalactic live streaming space cruiser, and I'm just going ahead and say off the bat, this is my favorite build of the night. Being straight up and honest, that's mine.
I agree.
Yeah,
and the little flags on the back spun.
That's
funny. Was great.
Out of all of the builds, there were exactly 2 of them that actually looked like spaceships.
Right.
True.
Yeah, the trick I've always, on camera, from what I saw edited, this is my favorite. However, I do trust Amy and Jamie because when you're there, you're able to see a lot of stuff that the editing can kind of get around, and that might have been going on. But yeah, as far as the color selection and the most spaceshipy of the spaceships, of course, a lot of us are into space. I got spaceships all around me. Spaceship building, you're going to go for the most spaceshipy of the. It also has that kind of Vic Viper feel. I know it doesn't have a thing in the back. But I have a feeling anybody who knows Vic Vipers is going to be triggered into loving putting this in the number one spot.
I like it,
Yeah,
except for
guilty.
a few little nitpicks. Not to be rude, but I love the colors. The colors are great. You got a few small details, but it caught my attention, but it's not keeping my attention. That's the problem. There's not a lot to really go on off of the initial fun factor. But that's just why I'll leave it there. But it's still a solid model. It's still very good. So.
But that might have been it. So as we look at these, there might be intervening details within the interiors that kind of pulled another team over the line, right?
Yeah, what I liked about it is the front forks on it reminded me of those like 1950s Buck Rogers like ray guns. To me, it really evoked like that 50s feel of sci-fi, and so I appreciated that element about it.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. All right. This is the old guys, the DJs, the Space Party Shuttle. What y'all think about this?
It's kind of
interesting.
No, this was the only one that was.
Here's an example of why I'm basically refining from commenting on any of the players or any of the builds. Because my feelings about this thing are completely about those lower corners. Look at those lower corners.
I know the corners are great.
No, look at the lower corners. Do they match each other?
Oh, wait, he's right. They're not symmetrical.
It's almost as if there's some deep-seated bad geometry somewhere in there that you'd have to take the entire thing apart to fix it. And maybe you better just do your best just to not do that and hope it stays together.
Hey, Jeff, can you say anything about the lighting? Because in the show they had like different color lights.
Yeah, this one actually had lighting, which I thought was unique.
Well, I can and I can't because it's more. It's not because I'm not allowed to. It's more that I'm pointing, like you guys to see what I'm pointing to. Okay, you see at the top of this build, there's one of those light controller bricks, that big white rectangle with the green button there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so part of the contest build was that they had to have those light units in there.
But they didn't talk about it.
Yeah, part of my job was pulling all that stuff out because that just got in our way, and we had a lighting crew that was taking care of all the lights. So the lights that you see going on while everybody's dancing, those are different lights that my team added, and I just pulled all that lighting hardware and gave it back to the production, later when we were giving them stuff back.
Did you throw it at them and go, yeah, and when you threw it back at them?
I understand you. So you can't see them, but there are a bunch of stacks of transparent round bricks and stuff and radar dishes indicating the lights up in there that I actually took really great pains to make sure stayed in exactly the same spot that they were, even though nobody ever knew.
So were all the builds required to have lights?
I think all the builds use the light functions. Yeah, I think.
Interesting.
Well, I think maybe light or motion because some of them had motion.
That might be accurate too, and that was motion hardware was also not something that we could really incorporate into what we were doing.
Right.
So I mean, I don't want to signpost too much, but it was just that was this wasn't the only pair of light of like controller things that I kind of excised from the equation as I was doing my work. Just to put it that way.
Okay. Cool. All right. So any other thoughts about this? You guys did animate this one, and it was pretty neat. But interesting insight there because I can see it's not the same.
Well, he's right. There's asymmetry. If you look at the bottom row, there's some pink that doesn't line up. If you look at the stacked green, the patterns aren't mirrored exactly on both sides. I mean, but that's 13 hours. And also with the first challenge, you're still learning the pits. You're against a great deficit. So
that row of lime or transparent neon green geodes going across the bottom, they didn't come to me like that. They were actually complete. Like some stuff fell off there before this particular picture was taken.
Interesting.
Do they send you really good photos, or do you have to go back and get the footage and kind of do it yourself?
Como si, como sa. They would send pretty good photos, but usually they were just from one angle, and with some experience with this, I know that you need, like, it doesn't matter how many angles you take, there's still something you're going to miss.
Yeah.
Like there's sure enough, like because I'm going all around with my phone.
Oh, we got the soundtrack.
Up from under here. Yeah, the drums are here. And I would still later on trying to reconstruct stuff in Burbank, I'd be like, I missed that angle. Like, I don't know what this is. I have to extrapolate, But But a lot of times going to the like video footage is really good for that kind of video footage is how you pronounce it, because you could just frame stop where if somebody's like walking around the entire thing, you can be like stop. That's what I need. Blow that up. Okay, it's a 1x3. Got it. Yeah.
Oh, this is where the most dangerous word in the Brickmaster lexicon came to bear.
Sag.
Ambitious.
Ambitious.
Moto. You know what they did? They said, "Oh, we're going to do power functions," and then they didn't do it. You don't promise anything.
Yeah.
Don't promise
That's a
anything.
mistake. But if you are ever early in a critique, so our hat was called ambitious from the very beginning, and that's usually an indicator things are not going well and should change.
Yep. This was the one that I was like, please, please, please don't make me put that in a box. Please, 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 please.
It's beautiful. I mean, the
rings are fantastic.
I think this was actually my favorite. I just
Okay.
love the. I love the. I
Yeah.
love the ambition of it. I thought it was a great attempt.
The rings are great. I would have loved to have seen it in motion, but I think they spent so much time in that the dish on top with the atmosphere seems very like afterthoughty kind of feel to it. And I think that's probably their
That's
time.
what Amy said, that it was unfinished on the top
Yeah.
because so much of the technical overcoming the
Yeah.
And by the way, there is no way with a power function you're going to overcome that amount of torque.
Exactly.
No one.
Yeah.
But you know, I love the brick bending just vibe of it is really cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay, Moto said torque. Everybody drink.
This one, to me, in my opinion, this one is more interesting to look at than the other ones that were. There were a few of them that were just a box that was decorated.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, this is more interesting than a decorated box.
They
Hands down.
understood the prompt really well.
All right,
Looks like
high
someone
five.
belongs to the space
Mark.
station.
But I will say though, I mean, I'm just going to throw there's only really one technique being used, and that's brick building bricks. He built 3 loops, and there's not a whole. But no, he's just part repeating. I'm just saying. But I mean, you this one, 3 builds and kind of a slap together thing at the very end. It wasn't my favorite. It was ambitious. But the first time guy said, I don't know this motor's going to work, I would have been, sorry, power functions are out. We're just going with, I would have just stopped. There's no way you're going to get that to work.
But modular repeatability is a strategy, so I don't blame them for repeating something that works once you solve it.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. All right. And this is the winner for the night, spoiler alert.
Winner chicken dinner.
What Matt is that Canadian's going to show up at your house and beat you up. Crash is coming.
He'll crash on the way, so I'm not too
The
worried.
thing that I can say about this one is that this looks like a model that would be at Legoland, and I think that's why the judges liked it.
I agree.
That's a good point.
But I think it just not just that. I think it's definitely got the most presence. Like that is the most eye-catching one of the group, aside from that
Very
yellow one.
graphic. It's not an easy shape, and they made the shape work.
Yeah.
Very well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I know Steven and Moto can probably attest to this. Sometimes you got to go with what you know on certain challenges.
Sometimes, no, you should go with what you know.
Exactly.
This is no time to experiment.
Yeah.
Dear God, if you don't go with what you know, that'll get you in trouble quicker than anything.
Exactly.
But you got to learn some stuff, though. You got to learn new colors and new characters.
Well, I mean, you always got to take the
Let's see the
advice
judges.
of Amy and Jamie. That's first and foremost. But go with your strengths. And if this was something that they may or may not have already had in the back of their pocket, they whipped it out and did a great job with it. So
What it is it's actually just a bunch of squares and rectangles, but they made it to the point where it doesn't look anything like that. It's a nice symmetrical shape, and there's a ton of rooms that you can see very easily. It's just great.
Yeah.
Another thing is to claim ignorance and then master it very quickly. So, being able to use Technic and then pulling off a large, heavy Technic structure and suspending it, I think worked in their favor as well.
Yeah, but that thing is only what looks like 6 bricks deep. They were talking about the weight, but there was not a whole lot of torque because that weight is all is centered on the mass of that connector.
It's at least I'm going to think it's about 12 bricks deep.
I was going to say, just ask the guy to do it.
It's not 6.
Yeah,
Okay, and then that's cool. I couldn't really tell, but did you interact with this one? Since it was the winner? I guess it's going to NASA.
Oh yeah, this one's animated, so.
I I'm having a little trouble not letting my emotions get into my commentary on this one. Like,
that's a problem. It's asking someone how the sausage tastes after they ground it up is probably not the best thing.
It's it is a very striking build, and I think that's the main thing I want to say about it. Were there on set headaches for me and mine? Perhaps.
One of my other things that I will say about this episode, and it's more about the way the challenge was constructed, is I don't feel like the NASA tie-in was utilized well enough. And the entire reason was you had to put the team's personality into the first episode.
Yep.
So this going on display at Kennedy, if I'm a young child that wants to learn about space exploration and what NASA's doing, that's the latest cutting edge science. I would not say this build out of context is going to represent that mission of NASA.
I agree.
So
I think that's
a
could
good
have been
point.
better.
So yeah, my slight ding against the entrapment principle of having to introduce a team's personality with the NASA pairing is that I don't feel that NASA was utilized to their mission to the level it could have been. One of the things would have been saving this for a later challenge in partnership with NASA. I mean, you had a NASA astronaut there, and she just said a couple sentences about the display and walked off. Well, you had the Lego movie directors there interacting with the challenge and offering up principles and putting the twist in. I don't see how this, I don't know, I'm supposed to be the science-based team guy, but to me, that was a missed opportunity to truly build a model that was more reflective of the new moon missions, the Artemis missions,
Right.
even the private
telescope.
industry or the Mars missions, to truly inspire a build that would have sat in the permanent context much better. And
If they had saved this for later in the season where everybody was specifically doing a science related build, it would make more sense for it to be on display at NASA versus doing something that was a reflection of themselves.
It was
So, I
two
agree.
teams at once, and it
it's
didn't
just
work.
the way the production had to be assembled, so I can't critique them on putting it together this way. I would say, as an outsider who believes in NASA's mission and space exploration and all that good scientific stuff, that it's going to be a bit troubled when you go to Kennedy unless there's a lot of exposition as to why, how this fits the NASA mission of
Yeah,
principle.
most
Exactly.
across. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and the other thing, with the astronaut popping in and popping out, they were
And that's
still
not-
under,
by
from
the
what
way.
I understand, there was still a lot of
Yeah.
COVID restrictions going on
I
about
don't
interaction and stuff. I believe they still had to mask up when cameras off. I don't know. I can't remember.
They did.
Being on that set was one of the most secure places I was at that time.
Yeah.
And that includes airplanes. It was, that restriction actually got lifted the day before one of my trips. And I was in the airport and I was like, I see signs about masking everywhere, but about half the people in here aren't doing it. And nobody's saying anything about it, and then,
Well, that's because you were in Atlanta. But
this isn't here. This is here in LA. I was kind of like, and then I get on the plane.
They could have done something like attach a parachute and do an egg drop where your model can't break, or something more STEM related, that someone could replicate in a STEM classroom at middle school or primary school level. You guys understand what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
It's just
we get you, Moto. You're right.
It could just seem a bit off.
You're right.
That's all. I'll stop ranting.
Okay, so this is the doctor's build, and I'm going to say, in my view, and go ahead, this is the worst one of the night for me.
Yeah, agreed.
I concur.
Because this one is of the box ones, this one is the boxiest, and the colors are just sort of what, and it had legs on the bottom. What were those?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to look like a doctor's bag, which it definitely doesn't. And the judges did say that, but in my opinion, this one should have been the one that got kicked off the show.
Agree.
Yep, agreed.
This is a hard one for me. It is really hard because, first of all, I don't know what's going on the inside. Is the interior better? I'm not sure about that. I agree with everything you guys just said, though, but it's like the colors remind me of a third world communist country flag. I'm sorry. That's just what it reminds. It looks so dark
Here it
and
comes.
evil. It's just not the green and blue. You should never put green and blue together unless you're making a natural scene. That's the only time you can get away with that ever. The syringes are kind of fun. The lights and the thrusters are pretty smart. I'm not gonna lie. The back is actually kind of fun. No one else did that, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I'm surprised Amy didn't hit him more, unless they off camera she did, or not in the edit. Hit him more for the color, because the color is very hurts to look at.
Bad.
I don't know though. I have to see the next one and come back to this one maybe. But
I feel bad because these guys had a really rough first episode, and I've seen teams go through it. And I'm sorry you guys had to be in the bottom two. I think that was a good call to put them in the bottom two. You know, I'm not going to say judge wise whether it was the worst or not because I wasn't there.
I can't say that quite either. Yeah.
No, but
wait, now you don't have now you don't have to do that, because this is total armchair judging. We don't have to,
that's right.
There's no there. I mean, it's not like we're sitting here in front of Austin and Justin.
Trust me, after you've been through the process, you learn so much that I'm not going to say definitively.
Oh, absolutely, and we know that, and we understand that, but we are totally being, Monday night quarterbacks and saying.
No, I mean, I would say yes. Of all the shots and this is the beauty shot. Obviously, it's in the bottom two. The syringes are not lined up. It's there's just problematic all around. But
now, and they may have had a horrible time with the brick pit. They may have had horrible.
That's what I'm saying. They just had a bad go at it, and you had a bad day. I hope help them recover quickly, and by the next one they're up and running again.
Yeah.
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'll say this, Dana. You're right. It's I don't feel like I should not say that this is the worst one if it is, but I'm not even 100 and I'm like 99.9% on these. There's always that little bit, because Philip and Maria made the losing team's episode, the losing team build for our episode 1, and they went on to go well past the halfway point, and they had some very nice builds. So I'm going to be really careful, especially don't want to judge the team off the build, but I have to agree with a lot of the criticisms. There's a lot I really don't like, but again, I wasn't there. I couldn't see what Jamie and Amy could see, but
yeah,
if I said if I wanted to say this is the worst one, I would say it, but something's holding me back. I don't know why. So
I got you.
I think mostly it's the color theory is just really off on it.
Very bad.
And I'll go ahead and throw this in, and I meant to throw it in earlier. Any critique I have the utmost respect for any of these teams that made it.
Oh yeah.
That put themselves through this and everything. So personally,
Well, you can say that, but still, I watch people say that, and then they tear the model apart, and you feel it because you try your best.
And I want to add to that too, because I just wanted to throw a caveat at the end of this, was because I was making fun of those guys, lower corners on their big complicated box that they made.
Right.
I understand that they were under a lot of pressure and probably didn't even notice that was going on, and it was just funny, that it kicks over to me, and I wind up having a deeper relationship with the build perhaps than the people that built it.
Maybe.
I don't know, but I've worked in. I haven't been on Lego Masters, but I've worked in contest type situations, and I understand what those pressures are like, and super quick decisions that you have to make that in hindsight don't maybe work as well. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to say, with all the barbs that I'm throwing at this stuff, it's also kind of amazing.
Conversely, this one has some curves to it. They're nice. It is mostly boxy, but for me, the color theory is really, really well done on this one.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
I'll do that.
You got the neutral in the middle.
I see a head shake from Matt though.
No, I'm agreeing. The color is bad.
Oh, this one?
This one or the last one?
Oh no, the last one.
Okay, the last one.
It's like, dude, are we looking at the same model? He's got color complements, transparent effects. I mean,
but
background color pops. This one's really well done as far as color.
It's probably better than the first one we saw, in my opinion, just a little bit. Because here's why. You have the pink and the coral on the left, and then you go into a neutral color predominantly, and then you go into the contrasting color.
Yeah.
So it has a really good transition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mark, you would say something. I think you might
boost it through the friendly colors either in the palette. So that's check as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. What were you saying, Mark?
Well, just agreeing with what the other guys were saying, that this one has a really good use of color. They've got the little detail in the front that looks like a digital audio thing going on, and The side panels are, even though this one is technically kind of a box build, it's done in an interesting enough way that it kind of distracts you from the fact that it is a box build. It's got good use of color, nice color blocking, and you don't have any weird stripes of bad color use kind of wherever. And that's the one thing I think that would help this a little bit is that, they said they wanted it to look like a boom box, which I don't think they quite achieved that, because the side parts don't look like speakers. They just sort of look like curvy, I don't know what thing.
Wings things.
That's a very minor criticism. That's just sort of a, this one's really fun to
I
look
kind of liked that they looked like subwoofers on the side, but they weren't closed off. Otherwise, it would have just fallen. It would have fallen short. But
no.
One thing I had to ask Steven is, do you see the flexible tree leaf? Is that flexible tree leaf elements to the left and the right of the HMM?
Flexible tree leaves.
No, I think those are coral pieces.
No, those are
things.
Wait a
Are
minute.
those? What are those?
Wait, those are leaves. For
They're
sure,
leaves.
confirmed.
They
Those are
are.
leaves.
I believe that's a new element for this season. Is the flexi leaves?
Oh.
Oh,
Well, here's the thing. What is that? Coral or something else? No, wait,
bright
that's pink.
coral.
That's magenta. That's
It's
got to be
it's
magenta.
magenta small flexi leaf elements.
Yeah, there's
Those
the
I
pink,
believe are
pink
new.
and coral and magenta are all kind of similar on camera. By the way, can I say something real quick? Does this
sure.
not look like wait, zoom back in and just leave out the right there. Okay, go down a little bit. That's a party bus. Those are the headlights, and that's the grill. It looks like a bus. So when I see it, I don't see a boombox. I see a big car flying in space.
Dude,
like
this thing came straight out of the Sistar system, as far as I'm concerned.
It's fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's not how I would have done it, but it's fun. I like it. I like it a lot. So.
all right. Oh, yeah,
Weird
okay.
one. This is a weird one.
Yeah,
Mango.
yeah. Okay, so they were supposed to have like a mech popping out of this, but they didn't, or did they? Do you remember?
I did. It was pretty good. They had a mech. For
I
sure.
don't have a photo of the mech that was inside. Like the front is door that opened and the mech was inside of it. So, I thought this one was kind of fun for looking like a huge fruit. Even though it's kind of a box, it's still kind of a fun thing. And the leaf on top looks like a spaceship.
It's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you
I
think
like
it's
the,
too literal? They're doing a fruit, but it's almost like it's too on the nose, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
They want it to be a mango, and that's more Philippine. That's a Filipino thing. Is mangoes. That's where they're from originally. I think the fruit itself. I think.
Yeah, to me,
But it's a regional thing.
yeah, to me, the brick sculpting gets the shape, but doing it all in one color tricks the eye into seeing as a big slab, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know what variation would have helped. Maybe more leaves, maybe more whatever due to time. But I can see that these guys definitely have the brick sculpting that you normally see in a Legoland model. They've got that down. They've got some Technic angling going on, so it'll be interesting. I think the single color kind of traps you into making it look more two-dimensional than it probably truly is.
The light isn't doing it any favors either.
Well,
As we all know that taking
light and
photographs
blast it
of
with
Lego is
hot and
never
cold on the
fun.
set, but yeah. Lens
Normally
flares
that's really
everywhere.
good light. This is interesting.
Yeah, the spaceship.
This is the most spaceship of spaceships.
I don't know.
Is it
Nick's though is still
Yeah, Nick's. But the difference is Nick's pointed out towards you. This was like in the Batwing stored on the wall mode and everything.
Yeah.
So it didn't give me as much dynamic in the position of it. But I mean, it's a good spaceship.
I gotta say something interesting though. Moto, you mentioned the Maltese Cross, that's the red one, the red cross spaceship, as being too much about the builders and not enough space. I think this is the other way around. I really like this ship, but I know that there were 2 prompts, and I'm missing the other prompt. I know Greg and Brendan very well. They're really great guys. I've been doing a new project with them. They're really great. They're fantastic in every way. But this isn't quite enough personality. It's very spaceship. It would look great on Flickr. It would look great on Instagram. But for Lego Masters, they want a little bit more identity in it, and I'm not seeing quite enough identity. That's not an insult. I think this is probably my favorite spaceship out of the group. So.
I agree with you. I don't. Yeah, unless it's a spatula on the left and they're fry cooks. I'm not feeling it.
They're not. He's Coast Guard.
Okay.
I kind of want to slip the word in like not in place of identity, but maybe as a shotgun riding word, narrative.
Yeah, there's no
Like
story.
Story. They're always going for story.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the prompt was personality, and yes, it's a spaceship, but I couldn't tell you what it was. In other words, it's a remix. It's a mashup prompt, right? They want to mash up two things. Hit it on space. I couldn't. Yeah, you're right. I think maybe that's where they got dinged.
I think they did the opposite of the Maltese Cross. I think a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. This is from the other Canadians, the brother and sister. I can't tell that those are hockey sticks, honestly,
They are.
from this angle. I know that they are, but I can't see them from this angle.
It's all the angle.
You need to see it from the side. I mean, it read better from the side.
A lot.
Yeah.
And don't the pod doors or the tops or the sides opens up because there's a lot of interior detail that they got in those two. Because there's hockey rings in one half of there.
Yeah, there's a puck on top. I mean, it's quite honestly, this was a still image taking problem, I think, more than the build.
Yeah. Okay, but remember though, they ding the loser for having story hidden that you can't see. I don't see any of the story. I mean, it's all in there except for the hockey sticks, right?
Well,
oh no, the puck was motorized. I mean, that was
the
a motor
puck,
function.
yeah, that's right. The puck was cool.
Better. And once again, color complement, right? Blue and we're seeing another blue and red being used as a complement.
And the yellow
approach.
at the bottom too. The yellow colors. Yeah,
primaries, bold primaries.
That's smart.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I'll give it the color choices. I mean, they got the engine blast coming out. Is that right? I think that's what that is.
I think those are thrusters.
Yeah,
and it looks like it's been done in trans yellow, I think. And I wonder if that lit up.
Huh? Are you
I
sure?
don't remember.
Boy, I can't tell. I'm gonna have to watch it a fourth time.
Well, there's one thing I want to talk about after this about the episode, but go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I love this, by the way. This communicated really well what it was, what it's doing, and everything. It was. I mean, props to Liz and Aaron for this. I like this.
They've got lights in that rod at the top, don't they?
Yep.
Yes.
I don't know what that's called. I know it has a name.
In the
but
neck.
Neck. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
And the
cool.
confetti.
I think the shape is really cool, but I think the color choice is just kind of blue. Really? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you even love classic space at this point? If you're complaining about blue,
Well,
sometimes we don't. Sometimes we
his
just
card. Take his
don't
card.
admit we
Like blue.
have Matthew around.
I think it would have looked way better in light gray.
No. Amy would have never allowed that.
No
She would
way.
have never allowed a green.
Yeah. Amy, you put it.
Blue and red are Boston kind of colors too. So
That's
Yeah,
why
they're
they
going
went
off
blue
of
and
their
red.
jerseys. That's what they were doing. They looked at their shirts and said, "Let's go with this color scheme." That's
Yeah,
that's
the-
what happened.
So just to the gray compliment. So if you build a spaceship in gray, everyone's going to destroy it for being Star Wars.
True.
They are.
Unless they're classic space, but
No, I mean if you made it like solid gray, you know what I mean?
Solid gray, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it matched. They did a smart thing. They looked at their shirts. We all know who won our first golden brick in our season. So yeah, maybe everybody should just be staring at their shirts, and that's the color you go with.
Is this a Lego color? I don't know.
have a
Maybe sort of
question.
medium blue.
No,
have a
it's
question
joking.
for
Zach and
Steven
Wade, of course,
Moto.
are wearing red and blue, but
I have a question for Steven Moto. So when you get your brief, how much time did you allocate for sketching, concept, and how much? So I'm assuming that you begin with an idea and you end up using some modifications, but was it 15 minutes? Was it an hour? And when you got done, was it very fleshed out or just like a core idea that you then ran with?
whatever time you want to spend planning as a team comes out of the total time that you have for the build.
Correct.
I always preferred to have less talking. Paris wanted more talking, so we eventually always took about 30 minutes, which I thought was way too long. Other guys that I've asked this question to, like Tyler Kleitz, he would spend 30 minutes to an hour, and then once they had clarity, they could execute very quickly. How much? I always felt that 30 minutes was too much. I'm more of a let's just get into it and wing it and adjust. Kind of agile method guy, but Parse always wanted more definition. He's very much an engineer. He wants a structural approach that needs to be persistent,
fleshed out.
I like to cut it both ways, and this is a habit I got into at work because I would finish a thing, clean off my desk, get my new assignment, say it's Robot Chicken, which and if I started to learn, if I sat down with a piece of paper and started drawing out how I was going to do whatever I was going to do while I was sitting at my 4x8 table that had nothing on it, my boss would start to freak out. So what I do is go to the, it's like Robot Chicken is a lot of it is like assets that we have, like props from other shows that we still have around, So
that's cool.
I would, first thing I would do is go get a bunch of that stuff, park it on my table, then sit down and plan. So
some teams want a good drawing to go from, but I found that will defeat the purpose later on if you have to adjust, right?
Yeah.
No, I think. But
Steven, how about you and Mark? How long did you guys take?
So for us, we would usually it would go one of two ways. What the first step was to plan, and then that would usually take, like when they were reading the rules, we would be planning. We wouldn't be paying attention to what they said. We'd ask them later. It'd be like, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? How about this? How about this?
Yeah.
And that would take us about 10 minutes. And then if there was any additional planning, it would be on camera, which usually took about 5, just to kind of adjust anything we needed to. That's one thing I was really happy with, is me and Mark could plan very, very quickly. We had 2 types of plans, though. We had 2 overarching strats, and they changed in and out. Once for one thing, we could plan something very simple and then go out, or that we plan something very complicated and pare down. For example, the haunted house was very complicated. We pared down, and for the floating island, we were started out very simple and paired up. So those were 2 winning builds, and that's what the difference was.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, and I would say also it depends on the familiarity you have as a team. So if you're working with someone that you've worked with for years and years, you have shorthand. So like the Coen brothers, right? They're known for saying maybe 2 words. That is some in-joke of something they've done before. And the people who've worked with them know immediately how to execute a very difficult shot. They know exactly what they're talking about, how it's going to go.
That's some tight methodology you were describing there, Steven. That speaks to a certain amount of experience, and also that sounded awesome.
Familiarity too. So some of these teams are going to be working together very tightly, and so they can do that shorthand. Whereas others, it's going to be tougher.
I'll give you another one. I describe me and Mark like this, and I'm not trying to brag. I promise. It's just the nature of it. But
let me get the flex. Hang on. Go ahead.
No. I know his style as well as I know my own, but I use mine. Like I know precisely what his is going to look like, because we've given each other advice for so many decades as we build. Like, well, maybe try that, or maybe try that. So you have your own hand in anyone else's design, like ingrained automatically. So we knew exactly what we were going to do with each other, and what another. Come on, guys! Why you gotta do that to me? Why you do that to me?
You got a trophy in your house. You get it. I mean,
yeah. So in any of your builds, did one of you turn to the other and say, "Hey, 1990? Well, you're young. 1999. We did this thing. Let's start there." And you just run.
We didn't reference anything specifically, but we'd be like, let's do grasscape, and we know what grasscape is. Okay, I'm going to do the water. I'm like, I love it. Just make sure it's strong in this one spot, because I know you don't build as strong in this area. So that's literally okay. Make sure my area is really tough. He's like, got it, and then he would do that. So that's literally how it worked. So
that's cool.
It's like Thor and Loki going, let's do I Need Help. No, I don't want to do I Need Help.
Yeah. But enough about me. Let's keep going with the builds.
No, that's a good note for anybody who wants to apply is, as you construct your team, make sure you have that type of familiarity going in.
Yeah. And we talked about that because there were brothers and siblings and stuff that really dominated last season. And obviously brothers won. That's a lot of communication that can be whittled down really fast. You know your skills, you know how to communicate and get it done. You put strangers together on a team like that, you have trouble. I mean, honestly, although, a brother and sister pair did go home
That's why
as well.
I think Steven and Steven are going to do very well. I don't know how far, but I think they're going to do very well because those guys rely on each other's lives in the field, what they do. And their trust for each other is like probably better than even me and Mark's. So, they're probably rock solid on that point.
All right, let's go ahead to the LSS smile check. It's a kind of a groovy looking spaceship from this angle
Kinda
as
funny.
a spaceship.
I think as far as a spaceship goes, it looks. I mean, I like the look of it. I mean, this is a horrible angle for it, but my biggest ding is it's. I mean, it's predominantly one color.
It's a school bus.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
you think
mean,
it's got the mango problem going on?
Yeah,
It
it's
was
the
a
mango
little bit-
problem again.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But the purple is nice.
Well, but there needed to be more. We needed to see more of that contrast.
But
I think would have popped
The
more.
one thing I'll say about the color is at this angle it's one color, but when you look at it from the side, you see the smile on the side. So they needed a solid color to get the contrast. At least on the top, they
the
needed
photography here is not great. Once again,
Ideal.
we're not getting a good shot, but
yeah,
We'll get some better pictures later, I think. See
well,
yeah.
I like this one. I liked it.
Me and my cronies are putting together some AquaZone builds for BrickCon, and
Nice.
that way it's like needs more black. Yeah, actually, you want to see? It's right here.
Ooh.
Let's zoom in on that, eh?
There we go.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
It's got some lights inside.
Put a monorail in there.
oh god,
Have a monorail.
It look awesome.
I'm not secretly a train guy like some people.
Okay, fair enough.
the bottle
Okay.
rocket.
This is
So-
a hard one.
This
Again,
is the
bad angle.
losing one.
Yep, it's a losing one. Yeah.
It should have gone home though. It was not the worst.
But we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Oh, but people tune in to get my hot opinion. Like I don't like.
Okay, let's break it down a little bit. The first thing I unfortunately don't like about it is the size of the gaps between the panels. They're very inconsistent and they don't quite work. Like if you zoom in, Chris,
Well, no,
to
they're
the eastern, like if it was a compass, go to the east. Yeah, go that way. That's the floor.
Yeah.
That's the floor of the build. Like these are really
And I don't
kinda
know
all
if
over
that's
the place.
necessarily that they didn't line up or they were having serious hinge issues.
Yeah.
And who's to say how that opens and closed correctly? And it may have just been one of those things of, all right, we need to take a picture of this. Don't touch it.
Yeah. It could have been the workers' history. That's possible.
Yeah.
You can
When
see
they moved
that
it or something, but
you can see that gravity's causing a problem with that panel on the bottom, pulling it down.
yeah,
So
for sure. So it's kind of coming apart just sitting here.
I get it.
That's why I think there's something deeper going on that they just didn't make the edit. Also, they were dinged for not being able to see the interior.
Yeah.
But I also noticed through the editing that we never got a chance to actually see the interior.
Right.
To really say, oh, that was a good interior that got covered.
Most
They
of the
really need to make it a 90-minute show. I mean, just give us that extra 20 minutes to be able to stuff in some.
Now,
more
every time someone says that, I think we should take a drink because that's going to be coming up.
Out of water.
It works in
Right
Australia.
up.
You're not going to get 90 minutes like Australia. You're not going to get 2 episodes a
I
week.
know.
You're
It
not going to
doesn't
get.
mean it's not a good idea, and we can't say it every show, though. I mean,
That's a good point right there. Also, they didn't realize it was going to be sideways. That maybe they didn't understand that. I don't know.
That could have been.
And by the way, just as a little side note, as taking a drink, I grabbed one of my cups here to go get water while we were talking, and I did not grab the clean one, and so I got a mouthful of wet dog hair.
Oh.
Nice.
So I was off camera, muted, going. It's just like
Oh.
And right now, somewhere, Kevin Hinkle is smiling.
Kevin Hinkle just had his day made.
You hit it right on the nose. The color complements are really well done here, where
Very good.
they're not just using the medium azure, they're actually using the darker version in gradients and tones. So against the yellow,
Mixing
the
them.
pink, colors are fantastic. I think somewhere along the line, the technical and the structure maybe bit them in the ass as well as detail. It's hard to tell because I couldn't see inside. From a lot of the motion photography.
I want to know what's on the opposite side. Like, what does it look like underneath?
Like I said, there's a lot of camera work which was kind of maneuvering around this one. So you guys did you did your darndest and you had a really bad day.
Yeah.
Well, they had, I know on the neck of that thing that was all snotted out, and they had some letters and some stuff going on. There was some neat stuff, but then it was, the judges told them, don't hide this. And then they were like, well, maybe the windows are good enough. And it wasn't. I mean, there was that moment, I think, that they were making the point is you've got to listen to Jamie and Amy and their advice and do it, or you're going to get the boot. So,
So we talked about, right, there's the three things that send you home usually. One is you don't listen to Amy and Jamie's criticisms and address them.
Mhm.
Right? Either you can't, or either you're unable to due to time, or you just dismiss them. Or, if the second thing is you don't listen to the brief. Either you're too tired and you miss something in the brief, or you misinterpreted something in your foggy haze and didn't quite like you interpreted the brief in not the way the main brief was trying to send you on the direction, right?
Moto, are you talking about the prompt? Sorry to interrupt. You talk about the prompt then, like the
prompt.
theme.
Sorry, in Australia they call it the brief. In the US, it's the prompt. It's the
Fair
challenge.
enough.
So,
or your brother's whispering to you when they're giving you the brief and you miss something.
yeah, exactly. That's another bad thing that could go wrong.
It can.
The third one is you just run out of time, right? Your time management's not on there, and you hit some unexpected thing that twists you up, and you can't finish. But those are the three big things, and yeah, maybe that's what did it here, is just a combination or something happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard because it's eye pleasing. It actually looks like a classical Lego gemstone from the top. Like it looks like a cut stone. It's kind of eye appealing. The colors are really good, like sky palish blue. That Linus blanket blue kind of thing going on is actually really exciting. And the yellow trim, it looks cool, especially at a glance. But it wouldn't have been hard to put windows in these plates. You just change up the parts and leave an opening and then put a piece of glass over top of that. That wouldn't have been too hard.
Well,
I don't think.
not hard for us, thinking that maybe they're halfway through the challenge when they made the change, but there's time.
I would have had that from the
problems.
start, though. I would have had it from the very start. I would have had
Just
make sure
won
you
the
can
damn
see
show,
it.
but
Yeah.
I don't know.
The winner, you won the thing. That's what I would have done.
You guys can do it to me all night. Come on. Come on.
we only do it because we're insecure and we have to do
You're
something.
going to have to put your armor on when you start to come on here, because
fair enough.
if you've watched the show or
should've
you've been
known.
on here, I mean, I'm surprised how many weeks it's been since we've seen the floppy rover, but I'm sure that it will return. So it's
Okay.
I'm not putting it up if you call for it. It's not funny. if you call
exactly,
for
and
it.
that's part. And I'm going to start opening every show floppy rover, and then that way it won't make an appearance.
Yeah, now it will because you're being a butt.
That's all. Okay. I understand.
What is that?
That's floppy.
What's the whole deal behind the floppy rover?
Oh yeah!
You asked the question. Oh no.
Is that?
It's amazing.
What?
Whatever it is.
So our
the
friend
short-
Dana, let me tell you, our friend Dana, he loves to when he's on calls and stuff, he designs on Stud.io and stuff like that. And this was what, 2 years ago? Has this been 2 years we've been talking about floppy
it was
rover?
early into COVID, yeah.
And so he was all excited. He sent pictures of this really cool rover. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if that's going to be whatever. And maybe even the comments like, is that going to stand up? And so he builds it, and he texts the three of us right over here. He goes,
friends,
it did.
my compatriots, the people whom I figure I can trust them, and
In
they
the
will understand
companions,
the pain,
right?
The private
and
secret text
the
chat.
humility that I am
Oh,
sharing with them.
no.
This
Oh, no.
wound in his soul with us.
Oh no.
And he
what-
says,
what
well,
do we
it
do
didn't
with
work. And this is like the most perfectly
That's the
posed
saddest
fail
thing
I've
I've
ever
ever
seen in
seen.
my life.
I'm so
So
depressed.
If
I
you
feel sorry
wanted
for
to
it.
pose it to look like a squash bug, you couldn't do any better than that. That's what makes
I'm
it funny.
afraid, Matt.
Yeah,
Is that
it's cartoonishly perfect.
it almost is intentional. Like it almost is like, oh, I'm gonna make a funny collapse bug.
Well,
Steven, do you want to know what
point
a good
was is I'm
strategy
going to
for
share my
live stream building
misery.
is?
Go ahead.
So, Stephen, a great strategy for preventing this type of activity to future-proof
Don't
yourself
have friends
is
like
to-
this.
No, what you do is you execute a build and you accidentally keep dropping them on live stream, so people feel bad for you, and they don't hammer you when you make a mistake later on because they felt so bad that you've dropped so many builds and destroyed them on the live streams before.
Except for then other AFOLs will then say when they drop something, I pulled a Moto.
That's
There
a
you
great
go.
drop. That's a great drop.
That's.
That was so good.
I'm sorry.
But no, I get it, guys.
Are we going to do any show and tell and some of the other stuff that you guys normally do, or is that
one
usually like
thing I want to
Thursday?
mention. One
we're
thing
at
I
an
wanna
hour
mention.
40. We got to land, man.
We gotta
We
land
will
this.
do that again.
We had done show and tell. I could have showed you what was in this thing.
Thursday.
Well, Mondays
Yep.
will be show and tell. Mondays is show and tell.
Monday be
So,
show and
yeah,
tell.
I'll show you what that is later.
And We'll be back here next Thursday. So.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
So if you invite me back next Monday,
I put these 4 minion heads made into a little light cycle while we were talking.
That's awesome.
That's a Sandlin builds like an entire thing in the middle of the show, and then he's like, "Oh, I built this little thing."
That's really
and
nice.
It's always really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys next time for sure. I'll be on.
Yeah, yeah. In
week.
fact, we're about to clear out of here. This has been a lot of fun and a lot of fun. We will be doing this. I won't be here next week, but these guys will be running the show.
Chris, let me wrap with a little anecdote that I saw. This is something that happened backstage.
Is it a lovely, clever anecdote?
Yeah, it's short too. Okay. It's just that we were screwing around with, and we as me and a couple of people on the production team, like some of the brick supply got moved into the zone where we were at, so people just start doing this. And this one woman goes, she turns to her boss and she goes, "Oh my God, I've been working on this show for X months. I just picked up some stuff today and started making some stuff." She goes, "It's really easy." Like she was just like, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, because this is a toy, you know, like, but I could totally see why you have lost that little bit of information because you're working on this show where it's like Lego Mass, the best people in the world at doing this thing. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of about them, but it's really about this brick. You know, I mean, this is like a non-IP thing that has a cult following because of what it can do. That's it. That's my wrap. You know, that's awesome. I think the show's cool, regardless of how you feel about things.
There you go.
All right, and we appreciate the drum solo. I've heard a little bit. It's been beautiful. It's been that is your build is beautiful. Unless you're just talking about Jeff in general. And
here's Will. Thanks, man. I got some goodies for you, Hafner.
Hey, this is a family show. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll be doing at least a segment or the show on Thursdays about Lego Masters since it's on at 9, and I don't want to stay up that late. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you, Jeff, for the insights. We'd love to have you back anytime.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, Moto. You're welcome to jump back in this. This is awesome. That's so awesome. Can I just hold that back up? Let me just say where I'm aggravated. I could build the exact same thing like Steven and Tyler and people like that. I could put the same pieces down. Wouldn't look that good. I don't know what it is about you guys, but you guys are
also Steven and Moto. Nice hanging with you. I didn't get to talk to the contestants on the show at all.
Isn't that a shame? You know, you don't let you talk to anybody except the one photographer. Is it Tom?
Yeah.
Tom was his name, right?
I wandered in there with a tape measure at one point, and they were kind of like, "Don't talk to them! Don't talk to them!" You know, I was like,
"You never cross the zones. That is a primary
never
rule.
happens.
Don't cross the streams."
That makes sense.
I'm glad you could talk about your zone because we are not. We are excluded from having that privilege.
Yeah.
There you go. Enough. All right. Well, everybody, be kind to your neighbor. Build awesome and be awesome. We'll see y'all later. Goodbye. Goodbye.